overall, we're going to talk about mainly the year which is ending now, how it was compared to the others and what all changed, and things we have done to keep up with things of changing world of Google Slides. Yes, the slides will be available, and this recording will be available as well. Actually, it will not be the slides; you'll get a recording. I think that's how you do it, right, Justin?
Yeah, we normally do it that way, but if people ask enough, we generally we've shared the slides enough. So if there's an interest, we'll send them. My guess is you'll probably want them, so I'll send them in the follow-up email.
Okay, awesome. All right, so let's get going. Let me click on the right screen. So this is what we plan to cover today. So we'll talk a little bit about historical trends, what we have in different metrics in Google, what we have observed. Given the fact with the number of accounts we have, I think it becomes a good indicator of what's happening with Google, right? And then we'll talk about, what are the smart niches, emerging niches, and the hottest niches we found so far for 2023, which means they'll apply for 2024. And tools and techniques we have kind of come up with in the last 12 months, right? We will also do a little kind of a laundry list of all the resources which we have available for you. And things which will be, we noticed in 2023 will be a problem, so we need to watch on 2024. We do have a kind of a end of the year partnership offer to end the year with a little holiday gift for you. All right. So this is Avi, of course, and I'm leading the effort here at InvisiblePPC, and also we have other agency, Kuver, and easiest way to get hold of me is Avi at InvisiblePPC. That will work, or the LinkedIn, just Avi Kumar. That will work also. And here is Justin. Justin, you want to say a few things about yourself?
Yep. So hi, I'm Justin. If you probably got my email to come to this, so glad you came in. President and co-owner of InvisiblePPC with Avi here, and also running kind of the marketing efforts at Kuwer. I'm super active on LinkedIn, so if we're not connected yet, please connect with me there. And then also that is my actual email address. It's not the fake one that then someone else monitors. That is it. It'd be kind of a bummer if that wasn't my real email address. But if you have any questions or want to connect after the presentation today, or really anytime, just shoot me an email.
All right. And just a reminder that we are InvisiblePPC, white label service. Basically, we do everything which you need done for your clients for Google Ads. And we focus primarily on niches, which are local service business niches. That's what we do. White label is basically completely white label. It's completely hidden from your clients. We do it on your behalf, and you manage the client. So as InvisiblePPC, we are celebrating 11 years of doing this. And just when we throw in Kuver in the mix, it's actually adds, I think, 4 more years. So we were doing ads at Kuver even before that. So at some point, we're going to update this to say our experience probably of 15 years of doing ads now. All right. So in fact, yeah. So there, I've got the data from 2008, from the time we've been doing ads. So these are, so CPM is cost per mille, which is cost per basically 1,000 impressions. So that's the indicator of what is Google charging. Of course, this is a consolidation of all numbers of all accounts we are running, which are in thousands, right? So all those accounts when we run, this is average, but it does give you a sense of what's happening. So one thing which is obvious is the CPM has been going up steadily, over the years. And that's the general trend with the CPM. And the next one is, of course, that's the CPM, what Google is charging for 1,000 impressions. Eventually, if you're paying by cost per click, what is that costing? You kind of see cost per click seems flat, but because it's a smaller number, we'll look into it a little bit more detail in the next slide, actually. But for now, there is an increase in CPC, but not that obvious at this scale, at least. And finally, the cost per conversion. The reason the cost per conversion is kind of interesting. The reason it's interesting here is, if you think about it, the data includes Kuver data, and then it includes the invisible data when it gets added with a lot of numbers. So initial stage of invisible, this is kind of saying probably the efficiency was not that great. I guess the cost per conversion was not that good, but over the years, it got better. right, and stabilized at a point where it is. And the general trend is actually we are driving it down, which is nice because in spite of paying Google more, cost per conversion, we've been able to drive it down, which is testament to we're getting better at ads, basically. That's what this proves. So,
and a few things, can I just jump in here? And then also a question for you, Avi, if you want to break down, I think for each kind of line here, kind of when you're seeing things like the cost per thousand impressions and those things, like what does kind of each one of those indicate a little bit more? It'd be good if you could dive in a little deeper, but I also want to give perspective for everybody on the call. Like this is ranging across all of our niches within our like Invisible PPC, as well as our other company, Kuware. So there's going to be a varying number of niches and kind of like sizes of companies here. It's just, but I think another thing to break down is in terms of like total spend. So if you're thinking about last year, just like this year up until now, up until to December, whenever I started sending our promotional emails, in the last year, just at Invisible, and we're generally servicing local service niches, we spent around $22 million on ads. Right. So that is, it's a big number, right? So there's a lot of stuff going on there. I think at Invisible alone, it's at over like 176 million total spent. So this isn't data from just like, a handful of accounts or low spend or anything. This is from thousands and thousands of accounts that are spending consistently. So really want to drive that home before we talk about kind of the differences, like what's kind of the trends we're seeing.
Yeah, thank you for bringing that up because that's important. That what is this data based on? And now I'm going to bring in a little bit of a Kuware perspective. So in case of Invisible PPC, our clients spend minimum of $1,000 per month to all the way. I think we have $60,000 or $70,000 per month spent for niche businesses like plumbers and others. Kuware side, we might have clients who actually start at 10,000, and we have had in this data somewhere, some of the clients spending $500,000 a month. These are e-commerce clients. So it is a mix of data, but overall, what's happening with the Google Ads is what it is. It's probably, if I was going to look at the bias, because of the number of accounts and the way the averaging works, it's probably biased towards more local businesses, just overall. Okay, great. So yeah, CPM is again cost per 1,000 impressions. CPC is cost per click, and cost per conversion is actual conversion. Conversion is defined in this case, if it is e-commerce, it's a sale. Otherwise, if it is a lead business for most of the local businesses, it's either a form fill or a phone call. So that's a conversion. All right. And as I was saying that when you look at here, the CPC seems like, oh, it's kind of flat, but just because of the scale. So I wanted to see the CPC. How is it changing? Just so it's actually, if you look at this way, man, it's gone 4x in this time period, right? From if you look at the trend, it's consistently going up, right? But again, reminder, the big thing is, end of the day, what we care about is cost per conversion. So if you get better at cost, the green line, you can kind of drive it down in spite of increase in the cost per click, right? So then now that we looked at the big long picture, as I pointed out, we want to focus more on just kind of last year or this year and the last year. So this graph, just to orient you guys, dashed lines are all from the year previous, 2022. So that kind of gives you a perspective there. And then again, we will look at, if you notice the cost per click again is kind of flat on the bottom. So we're going to look at it in detail in the next slide. But if we start with CPM, the cost per mille or cost per 1,000 basically impressions is the red. And if you look at that it's actually the thing which is surprising this quarter is almost always we have said fourth quarter CPM goes up. But this fourth quarter, actually CPM went down. So that's kind of interesting thing, which means the traditional wisdom of don't do ads Q4 would have not applied to this quarter because CPM was lower. Last year, it was actually following the trend higher in the Q4. Right? So that's one thing there. And then the cost per conversion, of course, has gone down also, which is kind of function of yeah, that CPM dropping a little bit. It's following that same trajectory. So, so which means this quarter, I mean, it's kind of maybe not too late still to run some ads for next couple of weeks, right? Because it seems like it's cheaper, which usually is not the case. Q4 is expensive, usually the quarter.
Yeah,
In
I'm
fact,
wondering. I'm wondering if that's held the same, because this is again all kind of Google data here. I'm wondering how that holds for more interruptive platforms. Maybe people in the e-com space, or the people that would be dominating in this quarter have moved to more interruptive platforms, which is allowing people that normally kind of get lost in the shuffle in Q4 to actually have some decent performance on Google.
so you're right, but I do have a theory, and if that theory, I don't know why it'll come out true this year, but this is what I felt. That we are focused a lot on search ads where people have an intent, they have a problem. Problem don't change by Q4. But the perception that Q4 is going to be expensive changes. So a lot of people decide, I'm going to reduce my budget for Q4. If enough people reduce budget, the inventory is higher. So it could be this one of those hog cycle things. If enough of people see this next quarter, next year, they're going to say, oh, let's do a lot of ads. And then next year, 2024 might be very expensive. So the way to do this is actually monitor it monthly or weekly and see, is it changing? And if it is not going up, then keep spending the money, right? Because this is a whole quarter, but really you want to see how is it happening weekly and kind of manage your budget that way, right? So I mean, enough people being scared of Q4, if they pull back from essential services, which still people are searching, then you end up getting cheaper ads. I think that is possibly what is happening here, right? So, and then again, this is again pointing out because CPM was actually dropping, the CPC was dropping also, and as a result, it was cost per conversion was dropping, right? Because on that graph you could not see the difference. So it's clearly a trend for sure for this Q4, which is a counter trend, I would say. Yeah. The other thing to notice is actually the CPC for last Q4 had actually dropped slightly, even though the CPM had gone up. Right? So the CPC was lower, but that could be just function of optimization and other things. So we cannot talk because CPM is the true measure of what Google wants to charge you, right? CPC has many other factors coming in there, right? But in this case, CPC did drop clearly, which is good news because that drops we end up getting overall cheaper conversions for Q4. So definitely happy over the rainbow. That's my.
Avi, quick, something I wanted you to share, especially, we're marketers here, so we can nerd out about things like CPC, CPMs, and those types of things. But this year, one of the things we did change, and I forget if you talk about this, and so we might be sharing something a little early, but because we're on the CPC slide, I wanted to ask you this and kind of have you explain why we do this. We don't talk about CPCs with our clients. Absolutely. We have CPC data, but we don't talk, and you're our clients. You're the agents, like the agencies are our clients, and we still don't talk CPCs with you. Talk through why we don't, and what to do in place of that.
So we don't like to talk CPC. We run into situations where say, I'm getting this CPC. So my general answer is, you give me what CPC you want, and I can deliver that CPC. So if you want a really low CPC, I'm going to just use very broad keywords, get the users clicking on all, but your conversion rate will drop. So your cost per conversion will go up. End of the day, the way I like to say, this is just a funnel with filters, with sieves. If you make the holes bigger and bigger, you can get a lot of rain through it and get cheap. So CPC is basically, you make your keywords such that a lot more people will click on it, your ads such, and then, but they will not convert because you got everybody there. So that's why we do not like to talk CPC, because CPC is an intermediate measure. It's a good indicator internally for us when we're comparing apples to apple, but we just compare somebody's completely different ads, what they have done with the ads and keywords, it's not a good comparison. Instead, end of the day, what business cares about is cost per conversion. That's what we like to talk. So that's the reason we avoid talking CPC, except for comparison between our own ads. It's completely okay to talk about the same keywords and we're trying different ads and ad groups. There, it is a good comparison. But if you change keywords, you change stuff, it's not fair to compare two completely different businesses running ads. So that's hopefully that helps. Right. Thank you for that. That question is kind of, it's not as obvious immediately when people think about it. So you hear people talk about CPC all the time and say, oh, we're getting really low CPCs, your CPC is not great. And we tell them, okay, let's talk about what is cost per acquisition, because that's what really matters, right? And especially here is the other aspect. Our conversion rates, as you guys have, if you've been attending our webinars, some of our conversion rates are over 40%. So 40% of people who end up on our landing page are converting, right? And you can get that conversion rate that high only if you're getting targeted right kind of people, which means you might be paying a little bit higher on the CPC to get them there. But with that kind of conversion, it's worth it. So you want to be careful what you're optimizing for there. Okay, all right. Moving on to the next slide. So we're going to talk about three niches, simplify, because I think we used to have something in between before, but we simplified things basically. And what?
There was potential was the other one that we used to have, and we said no more to those. Like, get out of here.
So we have 64 smart niches. Basically, smart niches are niches where we have a lot of experience and we have a lot of historical data, which means we can say with fairly good confidence that what will you get. So the data which we have and what to expect, we put it in our smartniche.invisibleppc.com sheet. It's open. You guys can download it, and it's updated quarterly. So this will have 64 of these smart niches. In addition to smart niches, we have 15 emerging niches. Emerging niches are where it's not, we don't have, by the way, when we say we don't have that much data, emerging niches could be like we could have still a year's worth of data, but we don't have 3 years or 4 years of data, right? Some of the emerging niches, we've been running ads for them for a year. So it's not promoted to smart niche yet. So that's what we call them, emerging niches, right? But it is performing well, and we do have even this data we report in the smart niche. So that's smart niches versus emerging niches. And then hot niches is the niches which we feel like, man, things are going really well, which clients are very happy with the cost per acquisition for those niches, which means that's a great niche. If you're a new agency and you want to get in business, those should be the customers you should be looking out for, because you can really delight them with the acquisition cost and make them very happy with what you can get, right? So that's the thing we update quarterly, but this is, let's get to this. So auto service, dentist, HVAC, roofing, plumbing, water damage, and legal, basically 3 of these. These are what we have found is kind of have done really well, doing well at these price points. The clients are very happy at these CPAs, right? And this other question people sometimes get is that what are the so if you look at it, why they are good. If you look at the target is 40, but actual CPA is 31 to 37. So client is willing to pay up to 40, but we're kind of delivering it at lower price, right? That's where it makes it a hot niche. So when you go to a auto repair thing and say, hey, I can do it even better than what you're expecting with the target. That's what makes them hot and doing well and easier sell, right? And now the other question, if you guys are wondering why the range kind of depends on where you are and how long the account has been running. Longer the account runs, usually we can drop the cost. So cost per acquisition drops as we have more experience with it, right? So I think Dirk is saying we need ortho CPA down to $50 per. Absolutely, yeah. We would love to 10x down every one of them, right? So yes. Yes. So I mean, just in general, Dirk and everybody else, you have like 90 days is the time we take to get to a reasonable drop if you are a fresh account. Then after that, we can keep dropping, you know, and you got to continuously maintain after 6-9 months, it can get much better. Because basically what happens over the period is that we are continuously adding, we start with a negative keyword list, but we are continuously adding more negative keywords, which are very relevant to you throughout. And we are optimizing, hyper optimizing every day things. And that's what gets you the higher CPA. So it's not something you set it and forget it. It's an ongoing work to get to there, and it takes time. And the reason it takes time is, one is the data as well. You need enough conversions to run through for Google to optimize and for us to know what to change. So here's the list of hot niches. So if I was starting a marketing agency as a niche, I would pick one of these, for 2024.
Yeah. One thing I want to note on, and then we had another question coming from Pierce, but there's only there's a floor to like how low you can get in a CPA. I don't care what people like there's going to be a case where it's just not going to improve after that. And like we've had plenty of people where like they come in or like we've had agencies that pitch to other folks saying things like promising the world or promising even the lowest end without kind of like knowing like where are they located, what's the competitive structure for that, what are those types of things. Like it's not a forever decrease in CPA. There is a floor to it, so making sure that you understand that. And it takes time to get to that lower end of that. But what we've been seeing specifically in these cases is that like time over time in multiple areas of the US, these continue to outperform. So just want to make sure that's clear, that it's not like, oh, someday this will get down to $1, I swear, but it won't. Yeah. And don't try to promise that when you're talking to clients. And if you're trying to unseat somebody and they're landing in one of these ranges, you're not going to be able to unseat them for performance only. There's going to have to be another factor, whether you're doing not just PPC and other things that could actually, that could where they're maybe underperforming, but you wouldn't be able to compete on that and say, hey, we can get you 10-15% improvement, when realistically you won't be able to. So knowing these numbers and these ranges will help you in the sales process to better set expectations early on, for what sort of levels of improvement they'd expect to see. So just something to keep in mind there.
Yeah. And the argument I would use with client is this: don't focus on, oh, I don't know, pay like water damage. So the target is 300. Oh, 300 is too much. I don't want to pay for that. Instead, tell them, hey, what is each sale worth to you? The water damage will come back with like at least minimum $10,000. And if it's $10,000, so it's like, what percent you have at least a 10% margin, hopefully, right? You're running a business. It must be 10-15% margin. So out of that margin, how much you're willing to spend for a lead? So if you put it that way, that actually this is for each dollar you spend, what you're going to get back, then they start getting it more versus saying, I'm not paying $300 for this, right? Because they're just looking at one number without realizing that 300 is going to produce a $30,000 contract for them, right? Yeah. So that's where the way to sell. So don't, in fact, if I was doing the selling, I'll take this target and add 25-30% and try to get the client at that point and delight them after that by showing them, hey, I promised you this, we're doing better, right?
Yep.
So I didn't, oversell you in any way. All right.
Yep. And so the question from Pierce, Avi, and I'm pretty sure I can answer it too, but I'll have you do it. So they saw that we had like 3 in legal. Asking, what about patent law or customs international trade law? Is it safe to assume the range of 43 to 111? Like, so kind of taking bankruptcy all the way up to where family divorces, and it wouldn't be, and I think you can probably explain why.
Yeah. I cannot answer that directly. I don't know if that category is, so if you look at the smart niche sheet, if it is separated, then yes. Otherwise, your guess is as good as mine. There's nothing I can add more, right? You guys cannot, by the way, if you don't know this, I will never, I will not take a guess. I'm a data person.
Yeah.
If I don't have data, I cannot answer the question, basically, right?
Yeah.
All right.
All right. We're getting a bunch of questions in. And so do we want to hit some of those, or do you want to?
Yeah, if they're related to this, yeah, absolutely. Let's do it.
So this one's more of it's a beefy one from Sterling. It's in the Q&A, Avi. You might want to just
yeah. Read this, really optimize.
So I'll read it to the group. So Sterling's asking, what performs better, a really optimized manual CPC bidding strategy, or are you using bid by CPA to get that 40% conversion rate? And then he was just filling in some more details there of kind of what he had found.
So this is how we do this. Okay, so I get the sense of the question. Basically, we will do first manual CPC till we get enough data in. Then we start trying to optimize for CPA. We start going to the smart bidding at that point. So initially, the idea is get enough traffic in, enough conversions in, then try to optimize there. And the conversion high we get is basically, that's the optimization between ad and the landing page. Our landing page are, this is area where Justin loves copywriting and I love doing copies too. It's like just taking things, how you phrase them, how you change the headline, and testing landing page continuously, if it is not performing well, can give you big difference. So that's what we have found, that if you, for example, I'll give you an example, that somebody searched for metal roofing, and you have a landing page, which is a roofer, and you talk about 30 years in business, roofers with 5-star reviews, but the word metal roof does not appear in the top half or basically the what we call above the fold, then your conversion rate will be low, even though you have it later. So just simple thing like that, as soon as they click on the ad, if they are looking for something, if it is obvious and clear in the copy, in the next page, your conversion rate will go up. So that intent should match exactly on the landing page. That's how we do this basically, right? So that level, of course, you can do it visually and get it right. But when you start testing landing page and heat maps and all, you can improve. That's how we get the conversion rates that high, right?
Yeah.
So hopefully it answers that. First part was basically how we start. We actually do initially CPC, then we go to the CPA smart bidding, right?
Yeah. And then a couple more questions, niche specific. One is about like ad types, which most of this is going to be coming from like Google, general Google search. So asking it if there's a distinction between static video ads and branded ads. So, there's a kind of a mix between those.
Most of our data is biased towards search ads. If you notice, these are all service businesses where intent is very high, right? So it's like all search ads. I would kind of say, just don't even think about video ads. We do video ads, by the way. The data will be very different because how the video ads are approached is very different. This is all search, and it does include, so the final number includes the retargeting, of course, because that's the cheap way to, once they visited, you want to get them back, right? So the retargeting is included in these numbers, but it's basically based on search, right? And retargeting might have a little display there, right? Link back to a display ad, but just because of retargeting. So hopefully that helps.
Yep. And then I think 2 more that came in, then we can move on to the next stuff. And then there's some more general ones that we can have at the end. That's more data. It's right up your alley, Avi. It's more of a data question. So is 2024, do we think, or are we seeing still a good time to target movers as a niche, or would you recommend going after one of the hot niches particularly?
So I don't know enough to say movers will be hot or not. These niches where we have data, look at our sheets and see what do you find with that, and go with that if numbers are right. That's what I can say. The plastic surgeons, and so the experience with plastic surgeons is basically any kind of a medical procedure requires a lot of cooperation from the client to get approved the ads, because the Google will require certifications and everything to make sure that you're really allowed, you are a legitimate to do any kind of a medical procedure. So that makes it a little bit hairy and going back and forth. But after that, they do really well, by the way. So even like cosmetic surgery, simple, $99 Botox injections and things like that do really well. So it's like once you go through that hiccup of actually getting things approved, which are medical, and Google will flag you, their AI will automatically, AI or computer, whatever it is, will flag you, then you have to go and get it approved back. So that does take time. But after that, everything works fine, right?
Awesome. So that kind of clears out all those. I'm taking care of the rest that I can answer through chat that are more one-to-one. And so you can kind of get, off and away.
I love the fact that, man, all these questions, as a presenter, more you ask and more you're engaging, it's exciting. So I like this, right? For sure. So let's get into some of the stuff which we added in last 12 months. This is, if you're wondering, this is they're kind of showing off what Invisible does. Instead, look at this way, that this is what you will need to succeed, right? So if you're doing this on your own or whatever, look for these things, right? So we did the new the dashboard. We improved it. Now our dashboard has the ability to kind of drill down daily basis by just pressing, like clicking a little arrow down. And we found that really helped when things were changing on the daily basis. Also, we added the CPM as a separate category here and conversions is separate. So if you guys remember the old one, we've added these two bottom things here. My mouse does work, right? When I use the mouse to show, you guys can see the mouse moving.
Yeah, it's pretty small, so it's not as like apparent, but it's there.
Okay, so yeah, so this is basically these two, we added them extra and we kind of put this box here, but all of these now have ability to go daily level. That's one of the things. Otherwise, that's a change. That's a big change we did from this dashboard we had introduced the year before, and that's what we've been using for all our clients, right? That's basically a good reporting of any kind where you can easily, in this case, the part we really like and it's easy to explain to clients is impressions. Hey, this is what the kind of impressions you did. Are impressions expensive? By looking at this box, you can tell them, oh, is the price going up? Oh, the impression price is going up here, right? Immediately you can tell. And then next is, after those impressions, what kind of clicks you got? What is the click-through rate? What's happening? So after impressions clicks, then what was the cost per click? And then really the conversion, right? So that's how kind of it's just easy to explain in a flow. And in fact, that's how we use for debugging. In fact, we go backwards, start with conversion and go backwards and see where the problem is, right? So that is some kind of dashboard like this is absolutely essential to explain clients, and we internally use it for figuring out what's happening, right? So yeah, we basically now have 176 case studies. And Chin, our CEO, tells me there are 154 more completed, and it's waiting for Chin's review to be posted. So this is going to go to over 300. Come on, Chin.
If she's on the call right now, she should be doing the final reviews instead of being on the call. No, I'm just kidding, Chin.
Yeah. So these are. I mean, basically, all this means is that reviews, when they're done, we look through. Everything is correct. Nothing is odd in those before we publish them. So they should be coming next few weeks. You'll have this many more case studies. So the case studies, the basic idea is that case studies are actual clients, actual numbers, actual location, and what you're getting in last 3 months, 6 months, or 9 months. I think maximum we go is 9 months. So you can take that as an asset and go to a client that, hey, Mr. Plumber, you've done this. Here's a study. Here's the actual plumber with what numbers we're getting. So, all right. So we added that. Oh, yeah. So we had a white label we were doing kind of initially with just piloting with some. Now we are doing meta ads for any and every agency. In fact, our smart niche sheet now includes the data for that same niche. How is Facebook doing? So we do Facebook or Meta, whatever you like more. So the meta ads we do meta ads as a white label also. So in case your clients need that, and sometimes, or actually many times, they work together in synergy really, really well. I'll give you one interesting data. For example, plumbing, because I see a bunch of plumbing here. In case of plumbing, what we found is if you keep increasing the budget in plumbing in Google Ads, of course, the CPA will go up because that's expected. As you try to capture more of the market, more of the leads, it'll go up. But you can keep doing that for a while. And then you go on Meta. Meta, when you do that, same thing, and start putting money, soon you run out of no more ads. Basically, no more leads. But whatever level you can run on Meta is going to be a lot cheaper than Google. So that's a great way to bring the average down. Run Meta to the level where you need to run, where you're still getting leads, and then stop there and use the Google to keep scaling up. Because with Google, you can keep scaling up, but it keeps getting expensive. But on the lower end, Meta is reasonably cheap. So combination works really well. So the average CPA will drop. And by the way, all the numbers we showed you about CPA, they were purely Google. But so, which means in the client's situations where we are running Facebook and Meta, guaranteed actual CPA is lower. The combination CPA will be lower. So really, those you can even get better. So the question was, how can you even get better than those? Do both as a combination, right? So, Okay. And by the way, I'm not saying, again, reminder, I'm not saying it's Meta is better than Google because it's kind of a volume question. It's the combination which works. We also launched this Dev in the Box service. The idea is that if you're a marketing agency with 5, 7, 10 more clients, you need somebody who can do web development for you, and you basically want a resource to be yours and working continuously. So we kind of, the reason it's in a box is we do assign you a specific person, but it's a team, a senior developer, a mid-level one, and a junior one. And they work as the equivalent package of one. For difficult things, the senior one jumps in. For most work, the medium does it. But if it is just a copy and paste job in coding, then the junior does it. And you just pay one price and you get the developer working for you basically full time. So that has been the clients who are using it, they absolutely love it because they never have to worry about dealing with, like we cannot do this or I cannot do this because it's a team behind the scene as an equivalent person. So anything and everything with marketing development, including Shopify and others, is all covered by the same developer. So if you're interested in this, of course, this is developer in the box on InvisiblePPC. We launched ppcreveal.ai, and the justification for AI is coming. I will admit openly
other than the domain was available.
Yeah, there's no AI in this yet because it's data collection right now. But absolutely, we will kind of stand true our name, and the AI part is coming. And it's not ChatGPT kind of AI. It's the deep learning AI. That's what we will be using for the next stuff which is coming. So that I don't want to give away any more on that, but more is coming. So maybe you want to talk a little bit because since Justin, you're leading this effort.
Yeah, no, this was, and I said this in the chat as well. Once we get through these updates, we're going to dive into pitfalls right away. So just bear with us. We wanted to share everything new that we've done because it's been a crazy year. And with the launch of PPC Reveal, this was an internal tool we were using ourselves and decided one day, hey, we think our audience should be able to use this. So we decided to do a launch, put that out there, ended up getting around 2,000 users in there who are actively running reveals. So what they're doing is they're just trying to see who's advertising in particular regions to identify advertisers to either reach out to if you're trying to drive business, or to use as a comparative function during sales calls or to break through gatekeepers. So it's a really, really great tool on the acquisition side of things for agencies, but it's also an amazing tool if you're just trying to get an idea of like, how are people positioning? Do you need to be like throwing a left jab instead of a right hook? With how you're saying like what your ad copy should look like is how, like, what is the overall flow? I've been doing a lot of these on our YouTube channel where I'm going through a specific niche in a specific region and then kind of breaking down the top performing advertisers and kind of the mid-tier ones. And you'd be shocked how much money they're leaving on the table. And if you see like the formula I do as I break that down, you could take that same level of expertise to your current clients or to new clients and either expand business, retain more business, or find new business. So it's a really powerful tool overall. If you haven't checked it out yet, please do. And if you're a partner with us, guess what? You have access. It's awesome. So another reason to be a partner with us. So if you have any questions about that, feel free to ask. Again, you have my email at this point too.
All right. So this is overall improvements in general fulfillment. We didn't want a whole slide for it. Now we do weekly updates instead of monthly meetings only. And we have introduced a monthly mandatory meeting. We want to meet you as a client and kind of explaining what's going on with the account. And you'll still get the weekly data, what's going on with the account, what happened. Why we do YouTube ads now. We already talked about Meta. We have managed for, if you as an agency are hyper responsive in approving and getting things approved, we can go live in 3 days. Right, from the time you engage with us, otherwise the standard time is 7 days, right? So if you really need something happening quick, we can do that, make that happen. Other aspect is we now are optimizing for qualified leads. I did see a question there earlier. I think it was asking about this, that cost per acquisition. What is acquisition? So instead of just acquisition as a conversion where a form fill and or a phone call, we actually look at every phone, we listen to every phone call and read every form. And then we say, okay, these are junk and then we don't count them and start optimizing for those. What that means is if there is junk, we look for ways of kind of taking care of it. And you'll see that in pitfalls coming up next. So this is what we have added to our fulfillment to just make it even more robust and better, right? So overall, these are the resources available to you. Of course, we do white label ads for you, right? We already talked about. We do omni-channel retargeting. PPC Reveal if you want competitive Google Ads reports. We do smart niche performance estimates, that sheet which we talked about. If that it does not exist on the sheet, and if it is a niche we are interested in taking on, we will do Google Performance Estimate, GAPE. We also, for our partners, produce white label performance pitch decks for partners. So it's ready deck, you can go and has everything in there, right? Ready for you. It's, I think, 5 to 10 slides, and you can go and use that to pitch a client. In addition, case studies, landing pages, swipe files, webinar recordings, community, question and answer sessions, all that is available through our partnership portal, right? If that's what you're interested in. So I don't want this to sound like a commercial, so we're going to move on to something more interesting. Of course, here's the other thing. So we have been asked this, and we as at Kuvare, our big agency, we've been doing SEO for now 14 years, but we have not been offering that as a white label. We are ready now to pilot it because, as you know, white label is a different beast. It's very different. The price point has to be different, and how we service it should be different. We have to stay behind the scenes. So we are ready to pilot this for 10 agencies. If you're interested, just reach out to us, talk to Anna, our partner manager, or just send email to one of us, and we will see if you're the right match for us to get going on the white label SEO service, right? But we are definitely open to 10. We will strictly stop at 10 or even lesser probably, because we really want to get it right before we make it kind of widely available to everybody, which might take a quarter before we just say open to everybody, right? Yeah. Because Chin will not let us do it till we pilot it.
Yeah, I know. So if that's at all interesting to you, either throw a 5 in the chat or just literally email one of us, because we really have been looking to get into this space for a little while. We've been doing SEO for end clients forever. And now we want to be able to do this thing right for y'all. So I'll follow up with anybody that puts a 5 in here, or have Anna follow up, or just, shoot us an email. We are limiting this. That's very important because we want to get this right. And so there will be learning on our end. And so just, we'll ask for patience there, but we'll also be making sure that that we've got you covered as well, because we want to do this, the right way for everybody. So thank you all who are already excited about this. All right.
All right. Okay. Right. Let's talk about this. There's quite a few things here. They are written as text, so I'm going to go through and explain them because they are important, right? So if you're doing this on your own or with us, these are the things you should really, really watch for. So I kind of alluded to this already. What is the true conversion? True conversion is actually a call or a form fill, which we could have closed as a business. It's not somebody called and said looking for a job. It's not somebody who was not in our service area, right? It could have closed. And it might not close for whatever reason. That's not something we can control, but at least it could have closed. That's a true conversion. So we focus on that. So, and that's what we recommend you start doing instead of just counting general conversions, right? And what does that mean? You will see later. It means actually doing a few more things right when it's not a true conversion to make it a true conversion, right? So one of the things, you got to plan for spam. It will show up. So there will be unwanted leads. Spam is pure spam junk coming in. You got to plan for that, and you need to counter that. And there are techniques to do that. Unwanted leads are not truly a spam because they saw the ad, but they're not relevant to us because you paid for the ad, and these are somebody looking for a job, right? It's a form filled in Spanish, right? And those you don't want to deal with them. So how do you fix it? So we do have things which we use to fix it. I have explained this in other webinars. It's nothing hidden, so I can quickly give away the thing. Basically, there are settings in Google where people who are searching for jobs, not to include them. That's a demographic setting. In addition, on our forms, we actually do scripting behind the scenes. So when they submit any other but English, for example, it pops up and says, hey, English only, please. So that does not go to the conversion state, and they stop there. So there is a bunch of stuff like that which you can do to get it right. Other one, do not use PMAX for local service ads. If you're doing local service ads, we have tested it, we have tried it, we have gone through it. It's not worth it. It does not work very well. In fact, I'm going to move to this slide to emphasize this, to get you guys oriented. Search and display, general ads, video and shopping, we understand. App, we don't do any ads. Discovery, we don't do much. So those are grayed out. Performance Max, we don't want to do for service ads. I mean, there might be for e-commerce, maybe in some situations you can, but for if you're doing combining search with Performance Max, it just not will, basically Performance Max will steal your search credits from your search, and it just doesn't work very well for service ads. So going back again, we are not recommending PMAX for local service business ads. We have tried this, we have spent the money, we have spent our clients' money, the millions of dollars, so we know this doesn't work, so don't waste your money on it for service ads, right? So Google is slowly, as you probably have noticed, is becoming more and more of a Google black box. You cannot gather all the data. So what does that mean? You want to get your info. You want to know what's happening. The way to do that is structure your ads correctly. If you structure them, separate them out and others, it becomes even more important for you to get insight. Because if you don't get insight, you are basically at mercy of Google. And which actually I should have numbered these points, but if I skip the next one, next one after that says, don't follow Google recommendations blindly. If you get 5 recommendations, we have seen consistently that only 1 or maximum 2 of those recommendations are actually helpful. Rest are to make Google to make more money. They just don't necessarily, they are not small business friendly. So again, that structuring can help you understand what's happening and not happening. The add meta to local, so this is not Google ads, but as I pointed out, again, the CPAs are lower than Google, but with limited ad inventory. So you cannot scale too high with this, but the combination will bring your CPA down, right? And that's a good thing. So add meta. So again, complement your Google with meta. That's what we found. And finally, know your competition. How will you know your competition? It says PPPC reveal. It should be just PP, just two PPCs reveal. But I'll give you this example. This will make it very clear. Say you are a dentist, local. You offer teeth whitening service. You use the term teeth whitening. You run an ad. You're thinking, oh, I'm just competing with the local dentist, right? I have no problem. I can compete. I can beat the price. You do use the PPC reveal, and you will find Amazon is actually advertising for teeth whiteners. Of course, Amazon has a lot more money than your local dentist. Amazon ads are competing, so it will be very difficult for you to beat against them, right? So you'll have to get creative now, right? So many times your competition is not what you think your competition is. And you cannot know that till you actually run something like PPC reveal to see who else is advertising for that keyword. Your assumptions that only these people are could be wrong. So this is the best way to do it. Just run it and you'll know who all is advertising on that keyword, and immediately you'll know what to do. Other thing, if competition is local, you can look at their ads and copy them, right? That's the other. So know your competition, it is important. And especially this Amazon one happens all the time. Surprisingly, different companies advertising, very large national companies. If they are, don't go there. Don't compete against these large companies on those keywords. You're going to lose, guaranteed. So you got to find a other way to compete. Focus on conversion rate. So if you take that conversion rate from 10 to 40%, if you have 10% in, go to 40%, that's like, I don't know, do the math, right? 42. It's a major drop, but basically we have seen like 80% drop in the CPA by just increasing conversion, right? Conversion rate. So these are the things if we focus on, and avoid don't settle for, I've got a 5%, 6% conversion rate or 9%. You got to be at least double digit. So we, in our case, if it is not double digit conversion rate, we just think, because there are some markets we cannot get to 40 because of many reasons. It's usually when you cannot get to that, it's because the service is such, it's broad and it cannot be defined clearly. If it can be defined very clearly, then you can get to those, 30, 40%. But some of the services you cannot. So what happens is they end up on the page, and only in the page they realize what the service is about, and then some will drop off. Those are the situations you will not get that good a conversion rate, right? But in all other situations where it is very clear what you're selling and it's very specific, you should be able to get the 30 to 40% conversion rate, right? So, so that's basically the things to watch out for as we go forward. And as you notice that CPCs are increasing, so which means you got to apply all these techniques to bring the CPA down. Otherwise, because of the CPC and CPMs going up, your cost per ad will just keep going up, and then your clients will not be happy. So,
and that's one thing I really want to dive in, because you're hitting it right on the head here, and I want everybody to hear this, especially when it's coming down to the good landing page piece. If you're an agency going into 2024 that says that is a PPC or a Google Ads or a Facebook Ads agency, and you do not have have control of the landing page, you're not a PPC agency, right? You need to have control. You need to be taking control of the post-click environment. One, because Google's becoming more of a black box, Facebook is, all these things. And two, you have the most control with a great landing page. So something that's important, like with CPCs rising and with people black boxing more, you need to take control of the areas that you can control, which is the post-click experience. And that's how you get some of the performance benchmarks that we saw today. So that's the biggest gotcha, I think, going into one of the bigger gotchas as well. That
and by the way, at Invisible, we don't take clients if they don't allow us to control the landing page. Landing page, that's why landing page is part of our service. We don't do white label where say, oh, you deal with the landing page, because I cannot even imagine, oh, you deal with the landing page, I'll just send you the click. Really? I mean, it's about conversion, right? Then I'm going to be, if I just send you a click, I'm going to optimize for the click only, not for conversion. And as I already told you, that I can drop the CPC to whatever you want, right? But it'll not convert on the other end. That'll be wasted money overall, right? So that's why having control of the whole ecosystem of the ad is very, very important. That's why at Invisible, we do not, we say, hey, we got to have access and control on the landing page.
Yeah.
All right.
Absolutely. We can do we want to do final questions and close it out, or just kind of let them know about the offer, then do questions?
Yeah, just do the offer, because we kind of done, and then we will take questions. Absolutely. We have time.
Great. So. Awesome. Yeah. Awesome. So yeah, just wanted to let you know, since you all stuck with us to the end, and I think only about 4 people dropped. So thank you so much. It must, this is all of our, nobody else has this data that we shared today. Because nobody's been doing this and aggregating this stuff for as long as we have. So it's really cool that everybody stuck on to kind of see what this is all about. And this is becoming a new yearly tradition that we really like to do. So we wanted to also make sure that you got a little bit of a bonus for joining us. We want to make sure that if you're ready to, offer PPC to your clients and you want to become a partnership, you can get 25% off on a quarterly or yearly plan for using coupon code YEAREND25. You can do that without booking a meeting. If you're hey, I already need to be a partner, I'll have the link in the next slide. But if you're still curious about partner management and how we do everything, if you haven't been on a call with us yet, or if you haven't checked out the site, book a call with Anna. She is great. She'll be able to take care of you and fill in all your details. Just to let you know what partnership looks like. The IPPC partner program includes our partner pricing and our volume discounts. The dues pay for themselves on your first client. It gets all of our proven PPC sales materials and swipe files, with more being added each month, like you saw with and also with the case studies. We're adding a ton of those things across all of our niches as well. I think there's still 150 in the pipeline there. You get 12 prospect pitches, so 1 per month. So that's us actually building out the prospect pitch for you if you really need to wow somebody. That's a huge level of value there. You get monthly PPC trainings like these. All of our past recordings, and monthly office hours where you get to kind of sit and hang out with me. I'm seeing some familiar faces on this call here. So glad you joined us here. And if you can speak and attest to the actual office hours and kind of what we cover, that'd be awesome. You had access to PPC Reveal, and then access to a community of agencies and the IPPC team. So that's a 9,709 total value. You can get it for as little as $73.75 a month with your coupon on a yearly plan. Use coupon code yearend25, and the link is here, and I'll drop it in. Avi, can you drop that into the chat so people can get to that?
Yeah, I was trying
and
to.
We'll drop that in, and you'll see all this stuff in your follow-up email as well. But let's kind of get to questions here. I saw, Tuck, you raised your hand. Did you have a specific question you wanted to ask there, or did you mean to raise your hand? Is, I guess, the other question as well.
I'm just looking through the questions. I don't know if you answered this. We are a UK agency. We have a lot of UK clients.
Yes.
Now, if we work with you, can you convert the numbers to pound sterling in these charts? Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, you're talking about the reports or the charts? Yes. I don't know if you guys know. I mean, some of you probably know this. InvisiblePPC's accounts originally is UK based because the InvisiblePPC's founder, Rob, is in UK. So it's actually in sterling internally, at least that level, but we have added more layers on top and all. And being in US, so we kind of converted to dollars. Yes, we can convert all these to pound sterling without any problem, right, David? So hopefully that is answered there.
Yep. Joe, can you jump onto sterlings?
Yeah, and then do you have any data on keyword insertion with or without? Do you recommend it? Do you combine with landing? Yes, we do combine dynamic keywords insertion. We use it on landing page quite a lot. We have some plumbing clients where we have, I think, a few dozen landing pages, and it's really 6 or 7 landing pages. Rest the dozens are created by just kind of the dynamic keywords, right? So if you have 15 cities, each city is a keyword, and that gets inserted, and then the page looks like customized for that city. Or actually, it's not a city, it's the neighborhood, basically, right? Because the plumber is servicing the whole city, and there are neighborhoods, so we have landing pages for the neighborhoods. So absolutely. So that's we do that. PPC gives the additional insight into that SEMrush or the simple. Okay, yeah, absolutely. What SEMrush does is it's a statistical sampling and collecting stuff. PPC Reveal is I think Justin used to use the right. It's a real-time data. So yeah. PPC Reveal does not, you go and fill something and we will not show you anything. Actually, people ask, hey, I filled the form, I'm not getting anything. The reason you're not getting anything is after you fill, we start collecting. And then every few hours, you will see the updates, because actually its PPC Reveal is equivalent of you going to that town or city, logging in from there and typing that search keyword and getting the data then. So it actually will have a date associated with it, time associated with it, when the ad was shown, what was the exact ad. There is no sampling going on, right? So it's a real-time actual data. That's where it is different from SEMrush. There is a part in PPC Reveal, which is the competitive analytics for the website. For that, we actually use the SEMrush API, that part of it. So the behind the scenes for competitive data for a website, we give you the like backlinks, etc. That's also included as analytics part with PPC Reveal, because we felt we wanted to make a package to make it fully competition. You can do the slide deck to produce the pitch deck, basically, which we produce, where you can show how the competition is doing. That part comes from SEMrush directly, actually. So exactly the same data. So, so great. So that's the answer for there.
We had one question at the beginning. That was more of a. So we had you covered sterling's about the. I just didn't close it out about the keyword insertion.
Yeah, I think I did that already.
Okay, and then so Chris J was just asking about Power BI.
Man, Power BI is like, it's like you're reminding me of those CMO contracts we used to do. It's like it's a complex, high-level tool. For most small businesses, it's an overkill. It'll require consultants to deal with you to do Power BI. So I would not, for most small businesses, I would not go there at all, right? Stick with Excel and other simpler tools, because that's of course, if you get a, kind of I would say a mid to big business, mid-tier business or higher, then that's where I will start looking at Power BI. Otherwise, I would not. So.
And then we can hammer this point home at the end. Mark just asked a question because he was late, but I'm not trying to shame you for being late,
Yeah,
Mark,
it's
because
like,
you
yeah,
already said it.
I'm going to try to use this phrase. It'll come across. I'm trying to translate from Indian line to US. I was reading the whole Bible, and when the Bible is over, you ask me who was Jesus Christ. You know, so yeah, so it's not the best translation. It's about Hindu books and all. But anyway, so the idea is yes. So the answer is performance max for local service business do not use. That was the takeaway, basically.
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
And then also just an aside, be wary of demand gen ads. I know we haven't been testing them too much, but at Performance Max has effectively become the e-commerce solution for a lot of the ad side of things. And people are seeing a lot of success there, which is why we're not saying don't use them at all. We're just saying don't use them for the local like if you're in the local service world. Demand gen was Google's attempt at being like, hey, let's have this other PMax type thing, but for lead generation. It's also not doing what it's supposed to do. So be wary of that.
Yeah.
If
even in e-commerce, by the way, because we do some e-commerce on the Kuwait side, this is the problem. So if you have an e-commerce where repeat customers are not important to you, which is usually true for a lot of e-commerce, because a lot of e-commerce, once you get their email, you can go directly to them, right? No need of ads. You can promote to them. So then this unfortunately really sucks because it keeps sending you the repeat customers. So PMax basically tries to get every low-hanging fruit. So they have a setting, new customers only, but just doesn't do any difference. You'll just keep getting all, the repeat customers. So that's the other problem with the e-commerce side, right? If the, you just want first-time acquisition and you don't want the repeat, PMax is not going to do very well. PMax basically tries to steal and take credit for everything it can from all your ads, which was not supposed to do that. It was not supposed to interfere with the regular ads, but it'll take all the low-hanging fruit and take credit and appears very cheap. But it's actually taking away from the other ones which you're already running, right? So it's not a fair comparison. That's why if you want the fairest comparison, run PMax by itself, run the other ads by themselves, and you'll see the difference and see the value, right?
Cool. All right. Well, looks like we've answered all the questions. We went a little over. Thanks again for everybody who came on during the busiest time in the year for pretty much everyone, both personally and professionally, spending the hour with us. And just a reminder, if you're on the fence about the partner program, you need to talk to somebody, book a meeting with Anna. We'll have all these links in a follow-up email. If you're kind of ready to be a partner and want to save a little bit of cash, make sure to use the year-end code. You save the most, obviously, on the annual. And is there a replay? Absolutely. We'll be sending out a recap, replay, slides, and all the important links. You'll be getting those tomorrow. Thank you, everybody.